Okay, people, so summertime competition season for some of you is over and you're upon the off season, right? So question everybody's asking is what to do. They want to make progress, want to make gains, but you don't want to get too big or too fat. Some of you are, you're dirty bulking, which is complete nonsense. I don't know where that term was created, but to answer this question for everybody, I have to say that to make gains, to progress, to make differences in your muscle density and size in the off season, you need a surplus of calories. Doesn't matter how hard you train, if you're at a calorie deficit, meaning you're dieting, you're gonna have a hard time growing. You're gonna have a hard time putting on muscle because your energy sources, your carbohydrates and your fats are very, very low. So obviously you're gonna need protein in your diet, same as when you're dieting down to get lean. Protein is a building block of muscles, but what you really need to do is increase your overall calories, your fat intake and your carbohydrate intake. That being said, you can't just go AWOL and do dirty bulking and eat whatever's in sight. I mean, first of all, it's not healthy. If you have a fast metabolism and you eat a bunch of junk and you don't get fat, great, God bless you, but it's not healthy. It will deteriorate your health in the long run, especially eating a lot of processed foods and fast foods. But you want to increase carbohydrates, you want to increase fats to have more energy. You have more energy, more strength, you lift heavier, you gain more muscle. But there comes a point in time where in the off season, a lot of you have experienced this, you gain a little bit too much weight, you've been eating a little bit too much, and you start feeling sluggish, you start feeling shitty, your strength really isn't increasing, you're putting on body fat, and what happens is your body goes through hormonal changes. If your body fat gets higher, your testosterone and estrogen levels are not going to be ideal. Your estrogen can possibly rise, your testosterone can possibly go down, and also insulin sensitivity goes down the drain when you're eating a surplus of carbs all the time. So if that happens, that personally happens with me. I know a lot of guys that it doesn't happen with, but it happens with me. What I do is now I just keep a very, very clean diet in the off season, and I do some moderate to low carb days and then some really, really high days. For me, that works best. You could call it carb cycling, whatever you like. But there's also other protocols of dieting for 2 weeks, bulking for 2 weeks. Dieting 2 weeks, bulking 2 weeks. When you diet, you lose some weight. When you bulk, you gain some weight. But the difference will always be a muscle gain. So it's worth it to, throughout the years, throughout the off season, maybe you could do 2 different protocols in one off season, you have enough time, is try different approaches. If you're eating a ton, and it's clean food, of course, and you feel great and you're growing, stick with it, so be it, no problem. Some of you will need a lot more carbs, you'll feel better and you'll be able to handle it, and some of you, the opposite, will do better on moderate to lower carbs. I wouldn't say low carbs, because again, it's the off season, and higher fats. Everybody's different. But you gotta pay attention to how you're feeling. A lot of people are chasing numbers in the off season. Oh, I gotta be 230, I gotta be 240. It means nothing, because a 10-pound increase in weight over 1 month versus 6 months will be a different quality of weight. So the scale is not so important, but how you feel and how you look in the mirror is very important. If you see your body composition going to shit, yeah, maybe you're getting a little bit fuller, maybe you're gaining some muscle under all the fluff, but you're putting on fat, you gotta slow it down. You don't wanna put on fat. Take Bob, for instance, right? 220 pounds, and he's in his off season, he's made a lot of gains, he's gotten a good amount of muscle, and he's around 10% body fat. From here, let's say he gains another 10, 15 pounds. He's gonna be, let's just say hypothetically, he's gonna be stronger, and maybe he'll gain a pound or a couple ounces of muscle extra, but he's gonna gain a lot of fat as well, correct? So now when it comes time to diet, Bob is gonna have to diet for a longer period of time at 230, 235 than he would have at 220. So what does that mean? When we're dieting at a calorie deficit and doing cardio, we're catabolic. We're basically in danger of losing muscle. So the longer you diet, the higher the chances are of losing more muscle. So that couple ounces or pound, or even let's call it 2 pounds. Bob's a genetic freak, or he's on some special supplements. He gained 2 pounds extra muscle. You're likely to lose it. So what the bodybuilders in the 90s did is kind of obsolete. Guys don't do it nowadays. I did it myself too. I bulked up to 252 pounds, 100% natural in my mid-20s. And, you know, I definitely got a lot of muscle density from it. I was heavy for a long time. It wasn't just for one winter. For many years, I stayed big and heavy. I gained a lot of strength, a lot of maturity that you guys see today. But I also got some stretch marks from it. And I was really fat. It wasn't fun, you know? So bodybuilders have learned that it's not that healthy. They profit better by guest posing and staying in shape for photo shoots, by staying, you know, relatively in good shape. And at the end of the day, for you guys that aren't bodybuilders, you're just, you know, lifestyle. You don't want to be yo-yoing. Your wardrobe's a pain in the neck. You're going to have to answer to everybody at work and your family why the hell you're so big, why the hell you gained so much weight, why you lost so much weight. But at the end of the day, it's healthier to stay relatively lean, and you feel better. Your energy levels will be better. Now, on a side note, this has nothing to do with the off season, but it's kind of transition into my off season. I've been competing since 2014 now, so just almost 4 years. And after every show, I always rebound and I get bloated. And the reason for this is we're doing really strict diet, super clean food cooked in my kitchen only, no food out, really low carbohydrates. Sodium is high, but you know, high for a healthy diet. I'm adding my own salt in, and tons of cardio. So the show is over, and in our heads, everybody has, oh, 5 more days, 2 more days, 3 more days, diet's over. You got to get that out of your head, in my opinion. So then the show is done, and you stop doing fasted cardio. You most likely probably eat a bunch of junk, and you kind of go off the diet, and you don't have structure. So you have a ton of carbs now, probably double to quadruple the sodium, because one cheap meal outside in a restaurant has more salt than I would put in my whole entire day's worth of diet food. So the combination of all these is a recipe for disaster. Not only will your body fat go up, but I personally would bloat a lot. My body fat would stay the same for the first week, but I would bloat, and it would be terrible to look at, embarrassing, and also really bad for your health. If you're holding a lot of water in your ankles, it's not healthy, it's not good. You hold water everywhere and even around your heart. So what I did this year after the Olympia, if you guys follow me on social media, you would have seen the shape that I was in for weeks and months after the Olympia. I pretended like I was still on the diet. I went back on the diet the next day. That night of the show, I ate actually a clean dinner. I didn't eat a lot of junk because I wasn't starving, because we carb up with so much food, but I had some dessert. Next few days, if I felt like having dessert or a little peanut butter jelly, I ate it. But my meals were still structured, low carb, protein, vegetable. And if I knew I was gonna go binge and eat a lot of crap, I wouldn't have any carbs. I would do 0 carb. Because if you do 0 carb throughout the day, and then you go out to a restaurant and eat whatever you want, likelihood if you eat a bunch of carbs for dinner and a dessert, you're gonna have like 200-300 grams of carbs in one sitting, so you're good for the day. So I did that along with, I trained every day, and I kept doing fasted cardio. I kept doing fasted cardio for months after the show. It wasn't anything intense. I did 30 minutes. I still do it. It's not fasted anymore because I have 3-4 ounces of chicken breast, some amino acids, and glutamine. But I like it. Personally, it's a good way for me to start my day. I'll make another video completely, take you guys to the gym with me and show you what I do in my morning routines. I like starting my day that way, and I have the luxury of doing it. When I had a day job, I used to get up really early in the morning and get to the gym. So that being said, in your off season, guys, it might be, you know, some of you are in it, some of you are starting it now, because, you know, everyone's different parts of the world, and also the competitive season. Don't get too heavy. Pay attention to your strength. If you are getting stronger, forget about the way you look, and forget about the scale, and forget about your calories. If you're getting stronger week by week, you're going to grow as long as you're feeding and resting. So just pay attention to your strength. If last week you did 225 on bench, hypothetically, for 10, next week you want to do it for 11. The week after for 12. The week after that you want to go up 230, 235, and maybe the reps will go down, but the weight will go up. And if the weight doesn't go up and the reps don't go up, maybe you do it a little bit more control and intensity. So you want to be progressively increasing one of 3 things. Weight, the weight going up, volume, the amount of reps, or intensity. So one of those 3 things are going to go up. Not every week are you going to get stronger with weight, because, you know, if that was the case after 20 years, I'd be benching like, you know, 2 tons. But one of 3 things has to increase every single week. If you guys are increasing intensity, weight, or volume, and you guys are eating correctly and enough food to put you in an anabolic state and not in a catabolic state, you're good to go. You cannot go wrong. You will 100% make gains in the off season. So keep that in mind, guys. Don't get fat. It sucks. Trust me.